What's up everybody? Today we're going to be tying this cool purple and pink crappie jig. For this jig I'm using a 1/16 ounce freestyle jig head and a size 4 hook. I powder painted that with ProTec Junebug and it has a 4mm silver 3D eye. For the thread I'm going to be using a UTC Ultra Thread 140 denier in purple. We're just going to start that thread behind the head and take it down to the point of the hook. For the tail, I'm going to be using a purple marabou feather. Just going to start my fingers at the stem of the feather and run them up about halfway to line up the tips. And then we're going to measure it out so it's about the length of the hook. Once you got the length, you can pinch it in right there at the point of the hook and start tying that in tight. Just give it about 5 good wraps of thread. Make sure your thread is tight. And then you can let go and tie the feather up the rest of the way to the head. And once you've tied it up all the way, you can cut the butt end. Just trim that as close as you can. Then clean up any of the fluffy bits with the thread and take the thread back down to the point of the hook where we tied in the tail. Now we're going to create a little hot spot using a pink marabou feather. You can use a clipped feather that you've used previously for a tail just so it doesn't go to waste, or you could use a sparse feather that wouldn't have many uses otherwise. Either way, we're just going to measure that so it's about half the length of the tail, and then just pinch it in right on top and tie it down tight, the same as you did with the purple feather. Tie that up to the head. And once it's there, you can cut off the butt end. Again, go over that with your thread as much as you need to, just to clean it up a little bit. Bring the thread back down to make sure it's tight, and then bring the thread back up to the head. For the body, I'm going to be using this hot pink New Age chenille, and I'm going to twist that together with this Winter Run purple New Age chenille. We're just going to take a piece of each of those about 4 inches long and tie the tag ends of those at the head as you tie the rest of the chenille down to the tail. I like to tie those in right on top, but it doesn't really matter where you tie them in, as long as they're tied down tight. And once we've got those tied down to the tail, we're going to take our thread back up to the head, then take those 2 chenilles, lift them up, and make sure all the tail fibers are out of the way so they don't get trapped, and we're going to start twisting that chenille together. We're just going to twist it until we've created a nice looking barred chenille with those 2. We want those stripes to be kind of horizontal, just like a barred chenille. And once you've got that looking the way you want it, you can start winding that. We just want to have nice even turns so we have a non-tapered body. Just make sure each turn is pressed right up against the last, make sure you keep constant tension. And once you get those up to the head, you can tie them down tightly with the thread. Make sure you get a good tight wrap before you let go, then you can get a few more. Then you can clip those tag ends off as close as you can get them. And now we're going to whip finish. So just keep those whip finish turns tight. You just want about 5 or 6 of those. Pull your thread tight and clip it off. And there you have it. This is a nice multicolored jig. I really like doing the hot spot with the clipped feathers. It just gives it a really cool look. And I'll show you what it looks like when it's wet. So you can see those chenille fibers blend together quite nicely. It creates a really cool body. You can see that the little hot spot with the pink chenille adds a little bit of a belly. It flares out in the water and creates some cool extra action. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to like and subscribe.